Hey, everybody. This is Sherri. I hope all of you guys are doing well. I'm really excited today. I have a super, super special guest, Kimberly Palm here. Maybe some of you have seen her on Spiritually Raw interviews. Nicholas, I can never say his name right. Benjamin. Yes.
Benjamin.
Thank you. So Kimberly, she has a book called Ascension 101, the roadmap for your soul. She's a spiritual teacher, and advisor for seekers of the truth. And she channels Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, and Mother, Father, God. So welcome, Kimberly. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself more than what I just said, and introduce yourself, and then we'll dive deep into your book.
Oh, sure. Thank you so much, Sherri, for having me on your show. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate this opportunity to talk to your audience. So I guess probably the best way is to start back to my birth. I basically popped into this world with a lot of interesting gifts. Clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience. I get future prophetic visions from time to time. I'm not able to sit and read somebody's fortunes. I'm not a psychic. I don't refer to myself as a psychic. I'm not a medium. I don't talk to dead people. I can't, there's some things that psychics do that I don't do, but I am a medical intuitive. I am intuitive. I'm empathic, and I'm a spiritual teacher above all. And I've been studying metaphysics, spirituality, esoterics, paranormal, and supernatural since I was about 12 years old. And people have been just flocking to me literally since I was a teenager for advice, like life advice, because I don't know why. I don't know if it's my energy, frequency, whatever it is. I've just always, everybody comes to me and dumps all their life problems on me. So I've been counseling people literally since I was a teenager, and I started doing it professionally about 23 years ago, doing life coaching, business coaching. And then I had a health coaching and healing business for 7 years. I'm trained in every type of energy medicine possible. In fact, I'm a certified Reiki practitioner. I'm a certified mindfulness and meditation instructor. And I plan to be teaching an energy medicine basics workshop coming up really soon. I'm going to be doing that. So I'm really excited about that. But basically what I do is I just provide spiritual life guidance for people. People come to me with all sorts of issues, from what is my purpose on earth to where did I come from before I was here? How many lifetimes have I been on earth? Why am I here? Just every kind of question you can imagine. And I'm able to answer their questions. I'm able to scan them and find out where they vibrate on the vibrational scale. I can scan them and see if any of their energy is blocked, what health issues they have, what the root causes of that, that type of thing. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I just work with anybody who's a seeker of the truth, who has an open mind, and they're not stuck in a religious pattern, what I call religious indoctrination, where they think everybody's going to hell except for them. I can't work with those people, but anybody who's like an open-minded person who's trying to seek the truth and connect to God. The biggest thing that I do is I teach people how to connect directly to God, because that is what Yeshua Christ was teaching when he was here. And that is what he's asked me. He asked me to teach everyone who's interested how to connect directly with God and their higher self and their own guardian angels, so that they can get all the truth and the answers for themselves. Because everybody believes in these guru people. But what Yeshua shared with me is that there are no gurus on planet Earth. He said the only gurus are myself, and he was referring to him, not me. The only gurus are Jesus Christ, as people refer to him, but his name's Yeshua. And all the ascended masters, they are the gurus. And so every human on earth actually has the ability to talk to these beings and tap into them. And so one of the things that I try to teach people is how to do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's incredible. Your book. So what was the motivating factor? Like, what made you decide to write the book about the Ascension? And there are a lot of people that ask me the question, what does Ascension actually mean? Like, what does it mean? So can you give us some information about that?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So what happened, and this is kind of, some people may say, oh, she's crazy, but I know what I experienced, and no, I'm not crazy. I'm very, very, very sane. All the thousands of people who I've healed over the years will share with you the fact that, yes, I'm very sane. But the thing is that I was laying in bed and I was just kind of meditating, and Yeshua popped into the room like he does from time to time to give me messages. And he said to me that that everybody on this earth is going through this huge great awakening, and that a lot of people are going to be confused. And that this ascension is, this is the first time in history that this is happening, like on a planet. Other planets have never even gone through this process that we're going through, and the situation that we're in right now with having this planet that was taken over by Satan and Lucifer and reptilians and all the stuff that we've had. This is not something that's typical out in other planets in space. And so this is a really big event. And so he asked me to write a book to help guide all the people who are newly waking up, and even people who have been awake for a long time, who are just asking questions like, what is God really? And why is there reincarnation? And what is my purpose? And, all of the questions that humans have about spirituality, this book basically answers it. And when he asked me to write it, I said, I don't want to write another book. I just don't want to do it, because the last book I wrote took me 5 years. I put the last year of my life, I was just working 24/7 around the clock on this thing. And then it wound up not taking off because of a lot of reasons, mainly because I got ripped off by some really evil people for several thousands of dollars. So I had to shut that whole thing down. And I told him, I don't want to write another book. And he said, but you have to do this. And he said, I promise you this time it'll be completely different. It'll be easy, because I'm going to provide you with all the info. He said, you don't have to spend 5 years researching information, because I'm going to give it to you. And I said, okay, so let's try it. So I spent about 10 months getting the messages, getting the information, asking questions. I'd ask him a question. I'd say, well, what about this? Well, what about that? And then he'd answer my questions. And then I would be transcribing like crazy on my computer for about 10 months. And that was the book. And then it's called Ascension 101, a roadmap for your soul, because our planet is going through the ascension. So what that is our planet originally, thousands of years ago, was a fifth density planet with the Atlantean people, where there were beings from all over space who lived here, kind of cohabitated. There were ETs that were here on the planet. ETs have been here actually for millions of years. Okay. There've been all kinds of ETs that have lived here. We had the Atlantean civilization. We also had Lemuria. Well, what happened is Lucifer rebelled. He left heaven. He came to Earth. He headed for Earth. He took it over. This became his domain. He brought on board Satan, Baal, Moloch, Caligastia, all these evil ancient extraterrestrials. Everybody thinks that the devil is just one person. No, it's actually several different beings, and they're all ancient evil demigods. They're like demigods because they have supernatural powers. They locked our earth down, kind of took it over. They destroyed Atlantis. There was a downfall of Atlantis. The people became bad, the beings who lived there had issues, and then it was wiped out by a cataclysm. A big cataclysm hit the earth. Atlantis was wiped out. The same thing again happened with Lemuria, all of these civilizations. Well, then you had human people. Well, human people initially were these, like, how do you want to say, ape-like people. And that was when the earth had gone to third density. So what happened is it was fifth density. It reverted down to third density when Satan and Lucifer destroyed everything. They took it down to third density. What is third density? Third density is fear, service to self, evil, dark people, dark things, things like pedophilia, things like murdering people, raping, pillaging, starvation, hunger, sickness. Lucifer and Satan created illness, physical illness. People used to live 1,000 years on this planet. People didn't, way back when, people would live hundreds of years. Then Satan and Lucifer created all of these illnesses to destroy us, because their full goal is destruction of humanity. That's their full goal. So they will do anything to destroy humans. So what happened is this earth was reverted down to third density. Then this group of evil ETs came here called the Draco and the reptilians. They came from what is it called? Alpha Draco or something like that. It's a star system. It was a Draco star system, but they're a group of these evil ETs and reptilians. They came here about 12,000 years ago. They put a grid matrix around the planet. They locked it into this third density. They created the wheel of samsara, where people are getting reincarnated over and over into suffering and illness and poverty and death and destruction, and over and over and over again. And all of the humans who are here, the human souls, these are people who have only been human. They've never been anything except for human. They've been on this earth reincarnating over and over and over again, some of them hundreds of times over, into these suffering contracts. What happened is during World War II, they did a nuclear bomb in Hiroshima, I think you pronounce it. That allowed Mother Gaia, because our Earth is a conscious sentient being, our Earth has consciousness. Our Earth had been sending out an SOS signal for help for thousands of years. That nuclear bomb allowed the signal to get out, because then everybody in space could see Earth with this nuclear, they could see it. And they're like, holy cow, something's wrong on Earth. We better go help, right? Mm-hmm. So then the Galactic Federation of Worlds stepped in. They came here. They blew up the matrix grid in December of 2019. It no longer exists. They freed all the souls. So all of the people who never went to heaven, really, the people who are human people, who never ever experienced heaven, have all been set free. They're able to go home. They don't have to have a suffering contract anymore where they get samsara. The karma was removed, which I talk about in the book. I talk all about what karma really is, and why it was removed. And now we are ascending to fifth density again. And so humans, most of humans on this earth are anywhere between fourth density, kind of like fourth density. Some of them are still third. So the people who are service to self, which I talk about in my book, I talk all about what is third density humans, what are fourth density, what is fifth. The third density humans that are still on this earth are the people like the pedophiles, people committing crimes against humanity, murderers, rapists, drug dealers, traffickers, criminals, the most darkest, evil, sinister people who are serial cheat, they cheat on people over and over again. They're just totally service to self. Narcissists, sociopaths, all of these kind of people, they are 100% third density. And then you have fourth density, which is love and unity consciousness and our connection to God and our connection to each other. And it becomes a beautiful thing. And then fifth density is what I kind of call the supernatural, because when we are all, as humans, when we become 100% fifth density, which we're headed there right now, everybody's going to remember who we were before we came here. We had our memories wiped out. We all had our memories wiped out as to who we were before we came to Earth. We're all going to have our memory restored. We're going to know who we were before we came here. We're going to have all of our psychic abilities given back. A lot of people think that I'm like some anomaly. It's like, no, I'm not. I have a lot of friends who are psychic, but we're not special. We were just lucky that when we were born, we happened to break out of that pineal calcification mold. So I'm using more of my brain basically than other humans are using. But every single human on the planet Earth has the ability to levitate, to use telepathy, to move objects with their mind, to be psychic, to know the future, to time travel through your pineal. You can actually time travel through your pineal. They have all these abilities, but they've been stripped away by the reptilians. They took that away when they messed with our DNA and they gave us this reptilian brain. And then they calcified everybody's pineals with chemtrails, with fluoride in the water, fluoride toothpaste, chemicals in the food, chemicals, fast food. Fast food's all weaponized. A lot of the food is weaponized. And things like lead and mercury and all these heavy metals that they pour into our bodies through the V word, the jab. You get all of those heavy metals when you get a jab, and that goes right to your pineal and it calcifies it so that you are separated from God. They try to separate you from God. They try to mind control you. And the only way they can do that is by weaponizing, everything. It's like bioweapons. Basically. So the ascension is a thing our entire planet's going through. The planet itself is ascending, and she's actually the density right now. It's just that the people on the planet have not shifted yet. So the planet itself went through a shift on December 21st to fully loaded 5D. But then the humans, they're still 3D humans, they're still 4D humans, they're still 5D humans. They're coming along. They're still changing. So it's a process. It's going to go on for several years.
Yeah, and this brings up a good question, because there is so much confusion about this, dimensions versus density. You know, a lot of people say third dimension into fifth dimension, and then there are people like Lori Ladd, which I really enjoy her podcast. She says that no one goes into fourth dimension because that's a space that we can't access. I guess she says it's the reptilian energy. So there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of different theories or thoughts. What is what's your thought on the or what is your knowledge rather on density versus dimensions? Because it's confusing.
Okay, so thank you so much for asking, because I love answering this because of the fact that it's so easy for me to understand. And I agree 100% with Lori Ladd. I love her to pieces. She's amazing. Yeah. So the fourth dimension is where the reptilians and the bad ETs come from. That is a location. So a dimension like third dimension, fourth dimension, that's like a location. So you can skip from dimension to dimension. So let's say planet Earth is here in third dimension. Heaven is in the same dimension we're in, but it's in it's in the same location like we're in, but in a different dimension. Okay. So when you go to heaven, you don't shoot up into the sky and go to space. You don't go up into space to go to heaven. Heaven is right here in this space. It's just in a different dimension. Now, density is a consciousness. Okay. So density has to do with the consciousness of the being. So third density consciousness is fear and all these negative things. Fourth density, again, is more of the love and all that. Fifth density is you start getting your memories, and then you can even go higher. You can go sixth, seventh, eighth. These beings that come from these other planets that are the loving, the really good ones, they're very high density. Some of them are 12th density, 20th density. I mean, they're really, really high density because a lot of them are just a light body. Like they're not even a physical body anymore. They're just in their light, body, because as you transverse up the densities, you become lighter and lighter. You don't have a physical body anymore. You lose your physical body after a certain density. Like when you hit a certain density, there's no more physical body. So it gets more and more complicated as you go through the density, but it's a consciousness. It has to do with our consciousness. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the consciousness is the density. The dimension is the space that you're in. That makes total sense to me. So in theory, like if you had to guess, because I know you probably don't know the number, but how high of a density can a human being go before they cannot be in a physical form?
I would say anything past fifth, you're going to go to like a light body. Yeah. When you leave fifth and you start going into sixth and seventh, and you're going into like light body form, because, fifth is, you can only remain physical for so long. And that is also why the great solar flash that everybody talks about, it has not actually hit yet. We had a small one on December 21st. Our human bodies are not ready for the big one, because when the big one hits, you're going to probably become a light body at that point. So it's going to take us take us up even higher. So, yeah.
So, and so a lot of people are using the term ascension flu or ascension symptoms right now. You talk about that in your book. What are some of the common symptoms that people are experiencing right now, both mental, physical, emotional?
Well, thanks for asking that. That is such a great question, because I'm actually counseling people all day long who have symptoms, and some of them are scared. Not all of them, but some of them are scared because they think they have a health issue. Right. So you have to understand, number one, there are positive ascension symptoms, and then there are negative ones. And I talk about all the hundreds of positive ones, and then there's lots of negative ones. So negative ones would be things like weird headaches. If you're not a person who typically gets a headache, like I never get headaches. I'm not a headache person, but all of a sudden I'm having these really bizarre headaches from out of nowhere. And I notice it's on days when the Schumann resonance is really high, which is the earth, the vibration of earth, the heartbeat of earth. Basically, when since we started going through ascension, Schumann resonance is going off the charts. It goes up and down and all over. So when that kind of stuff's happening, when there's a lot of freaky energy happening on the planet, I will get headaches, or I will get dizzy, like kind of weird, like dizzy, like vertigo is very common right now. Problem sleeping is a serious problem for everybody right now. Eating, a lot of people are finding out that foods or alcohol, they can't do it anymore. Like so many people I talked to said they can't even drink alcohol anymore. If they try to drink it, it makes them sick immediately. Mm-hmm. That's because your body is trying to allow more light, and it's trying to ascend and trying to change to a more healthy fit density body. And in order to be in fit density, you have to have this really clean diet and really take care of the temple of the Holy Spirit. So you have to be drinking a lot of purified water and eating a healthy diet, eating organic food, as much fruits and vegetables as possible. If you have to eat meat, at least eat organic, meat, that kind of thing. And people are finding out that foods they used to eat, which in most cases are bad for you stuff, they just can't even put it in their mouth. And then we have people who can't even eat at all. Like I know people who, they just don't even want to eat. Like they just don't ever feel like eating anymore. And if they do, they maybe have one meal a day. That's it. Yeah. And then I know people who, like myself, I'm having weird cravings for things, and the things I'm craving are actually really healthy things. Yeah. There are specific types of vegetables and fruits that I never really used to eat, and now I'm like eating tons. Like cherry, I've been craving like tart cherries, like crazy. That. Yeah. And I've been craving what is it? Oh, oranges. I've never been a big orange fan. Me too. And grapefruit.
Oranges. Yeah.
Oranges and grapefruits too. And I've never really liked grapefruits, and I'm just eating grapefruits like every day, and so weird cravings is one of them. Sleeping is a really big one for everybody. The headaches, dizziness, feeling out of body, nauseousness. Some people are getting like weird stomach issues that they don't know. Some people are having weird aches and pains in their body that they can't explain. They go to the doctor can't explain it. And the biggest thing I want people to understand is if you're having strange symptoms and, it could be possibly bad, you need to see a doctor. But if the doctor sits there, if you go to one or two doctors and they shake their head and go, I don't know what's wrong with you, chances are it's Ascension symptoms. Yeah. Unless you're being psychic attacked or you have a learning lesson you're going through. I mean, I talk about that. I actually have a whole chapter in my book about why people get sick, all the different root causes of why people get sick. Like maybe you're being psychic attacked, maybe it's demons, maybe it's a contract you made, maybe it's past life trauma. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why people get sick, but those are like actual illnesses, like things like diabetes or autoimmune or heart problems. I'm not talking about that when I talk about Ascension symptoms. Ascension symptoms are very mild. They don't hurt your health, like they don't kill you. An Ascension symptom can't kill you or harm you. It's just uncomfortable. So I want people to understand the difference between a health problem and an Ascension symptom. A health problem could be detrimental to you, whereas an Ascension symptom, like having problems sleeping at night in and of itself, is not going to kill you. You're not going to like keel over tomorrow because you had a few nights where you didn't sleep. That's not going to kill you. However, if you have stuff like your heart is like going into a weird arrhythmia or something like that, you need to go to the doctor immediately and have it checked. Yeah. So that's important.
That happens to me a lot. I get heart palpitations. I've had so many scans and things done, EKGs, and they're like, there's nothing wrong. So I know it's for me. And so I do tapping on my thymus here because that helps me a lot to get through that. I've been getting a lot of parents because I work a lot with children and animals, and the pets are acting all funny, and the kids are acting weird and out of sorts, or they're experiencing that as well. Is there anything that you can give advice to parents that their children are having these Ascension symptoms, things that they could do to make them feel better, or the pets in the house because they're feeling it too?
Yeah. So for pets, I think the important thing is pets pick up on the emotions of everybody in the house. So keeping your house really, really calm, maybe playing some classical music or some 528 hertz music in the background, regularly would be really soothing to them. My cat will go to sleep. Like if I play 528 hertz music for her, she will go to sleep. She just loves it. It's like very calming for her. It calms her down. And so I think giving them a lot of love and attention, they need like a lot of attention right now. So really loving on them a lot, making sure you're feeding them also the high density food. So if you're feeding your pet over the counter grocery store food, that stuff is so bad for animals. If you are financially able, because there's some people that's all they can afford. Okay. So I'm not talking to the people who are in a financial situation where they can only afford grocery store food. But if you have more money, if you can buy your pet the really, really high quality pet food right now, that is really going to help them with a lot of these symptoms. And making sure they have fresh filtered water to drink every day is really important. All of the things that you would do for a human, you would do the same for your pet. So like for the adults, for Ascension symptoms, self-care, 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 meditating, taking hot baths, going for walks in nature, spending time in nature is really, really helpful for all these Ascension symptoms. Grounding yourself every day, going and walking barefoot on the grass, or taking a walk in the forest or by a river, or meditating by a waterfall, whatever you can do to get into nature is really, really important. And your pets too. If you can take your dog on a walk out in the woods, all the same types of things. Cats, obviously you're not going to take them for a walk out in the woods unless you want to get a cat harness. But you need to love on them. You need to feed them that really, really good food. Talk quietly to them. Don't yell at them. Keep quiet. Don't be screaming and having a volatile thing going on in the house, because that's going to distress them even more than they're already distressed. And it's the same with the children. All that applies to them too. So being more loving and gentle, feeding them really good, healthy food, making sure they're drinking a lot of water, maybe teaching them how to meditate, how to sit and quiet their mind and listen to soft music, put on music that they will listen to, and have them sit and just close their eyes and just listen to that music and be calm and peaceful. That's really, really going to help them a lot.
Okay. Yeah, those are really good suggestions that I think for the pets too. They just need a lot more attention.
A lot of love and attention.
That's what they need. They want that attention because they feed off your energy. So if they feel like you're scattered or uneasy, they're going to be uneasy. So they're trying to comfort you. So you comfort them back. They feel a little less of that uneasiness. I wanted to talk about kind of any guidance that you've received on kind of what's going on right now with regard to the energy and surrounding the politics. And a lot of people are really uneasy right now. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of anger. I get emails all the time asking for the answers. There isn't really any answers that we can give right now that are 100%. But what guidance have you received, or what can you tell people that are really struggling right now?
That's a good one. I mean, I every now and then I have like a little, what they call a mustard seed of doubt, kind of, they say a mustard seed of faith. In my case, I get a mustard seed of doubt every now that'll sneak in, and I call that little demon on your shoulder whispering at you, fear, 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 fear. And then I have God on the other side saying, no fear, no fear, Yeah. So what I can tell people is this. I've seen the future and it's fantastic. There's going to be these all over the world celebratory parties going on like really soon. By the end of this year, everything that you're seeing unfold right now will all be like gone, and it'll be a totally different scene. I was shown like 3 months, 6 months, a year, like 2 years, 5 years. So right now what we're going through is a 3D movie filmed in Hollywood, pretty much. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's basically for the sleepers, the people who are not awake yet. This is all playing out for them. It's not really real. The people who you think are in charge aren't even in charge. They're puppets. And it's kind of like a puppet show. Think of it as a 3D puppet show.
Yeah.
And so basically what is happening is you've got these, although the bad guys are being taken down, you don't have to worry about that. They're all being taken down. The minute you saw in the news that a certain Roth something guy who's the head of one of the big, I don't want to say any names and get your channel shut down. So once you saw that guy at age 57 died, he didn't just die of his own accord. He was all the dark ones, as I call them, or the Sith Lords. I like to refer to them as the Sith Lords. They're like Darth Maul and Darth Sidious and all those guys. Yeah. They're all being killed and incarcerated and all that. Our government in the US is basically a military zone. It's taken over by the military. I know that. That's who's controlling it. They're trying to separate our past president from all of this because they don't want all of the radical left crazy people to riot all over the country, because they're trying to avoid civil war is what they're doing. They're trying to prevent a civil war from happening. So they have to separate him from everything as far as possible. So they're letting this little 3D puppet show play out for all the sleepers. And they're releasing little bits of information. If you really pay attention, you'll see stuff is coming out and stuff is coming out, and it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Sometime in the next few months, something's got to shift, because in order to go back to what they call the old republic and bring back our fearless leader who we love so much, in order to bring him back and put him in charge again, they need to, I think, put him into place March 4th. I think it's March 4th. So what I think is going to be happening sometime between now and March, the truth's going to really come out, because that has to happen. Also, if they announce Nasara, then they have to wait 120 days. So then he might not be put in until April or May, I believe, or something like that. So that is what the other possibility. So there's two possibilities. I'm being shown lots of a few different possibilities. And the reason that they can't give me exacts when I ask my guides is because they say that all of these humans are involved, and then there's ETs involved, and they all have free choice. And we're all creating with our mind. We're manifesting. Every human has free choice and free will. And because of that, you can't put like exact dates. Like I can't give exact dates. I can say approximately, this is what's going to happen. But because there's humans involved, and there's lots of humans involved, and ETs who all have their own mindsets and their own perceptions and their own beliefs, that can change the timelines and the dates and all that. All I can say is fear not, fear not, fear not. And the reason why is because I have a group of beings whispering in my head every day, trust the plan, trust the plan, trust the plan. And if you're wondering who the beings are whispering in my head, we're talking Jesus Christ, as people call him, Mary Magdalene, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, who's the healing angel, Archangel Ariel. Those are three archangels I work with a lot. And they keep saying, trust the plan. It's all going to work out. They keep showing me these visions of people celebrating all over the world. I mean, we're going to get to that and sometime by the end of this year. But a lot of things have to be put into place, and and a lot of it is dependent on how many people wake up and how quickly they wake up and all that. So we're waiting for the sleepers, kind of. We're kind of waiting.
That's what I'm getting. Is like we have to be patient, because there's. I had a message a couple months back that they were like, can you imagine if everybody woke up at the same time, the disaster that would take place on Earth? And I was like, gosh, that makes a lot of sense. Like a lot of these people, when they wake up, they're going to have a really difficult time.
They're going to flip out. They already are. Yeah. The people who've already gone down the rabbit hole and woken up, I'm counseling people every day, all day long, who are totally traumatized by what they found out, because in the last year, they found out that there was this cabal, that there are these tunnels, that there's all this mass pedophilia, that 9 million children are being taken every year, finding these things out, and they're freaking out. They're just like, oh my God, they're finding out that the church was all a lie, the religions are a lie, the education system was a lie, all the governments are a lie, the medical system, total lie, run by the Rothschilds and Rockefellers. It's all like lies, 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 more lies. And they're waking up and finding that out. And then they're going down the rabbit hole further and further and learning more and more and more. Mm-hmm. And they've been traumatized. They've been horribly traumatized. And a lot of people are grieving, and they have blocked heart chakras, which has to do with grief, because they're grieving over the fact that the life that they knew is not even real. Like it's not even real. It was like phony. Like their whole life has been a lie, like everything they were taught. And so those people, luckily, are like all the starseeds. What I'm seeing are the people who are still asleep right now are what I call the human souls. But then there's thousands of people who came here, who are actually millions, who are starseeds. These are beings who came from other planets to help with this great awakening and this ascension. And then there's also embodied angels that are here. They're saints. There are actual saints who are in physical bodies right now. I've met several of them. One of them just passed away recently, unfortunately. But I've met several of them. There's also ascended masters that are even partially embodied, because you can fractal your soul. You can exist on 3 different planets at one time, believe it or not, because you can fragment your soul and stick it in different bodies and different, locations, and have like an oversoul, which I explain in my book.
Yeah.
So you can bilocate, basically. And that's what people wonder. Well, how can Jesus Christ listen to everybody's prayers at once? Because he's able to bilocate as many times as he needs to, and that's why. So the thing is that we're all headed. The thing that people need to understand is do not fear, do not fear, do not fear. Because every time you fear, it pulls you down into third density, and you don't want to be there. Because as the vibration shifts higher and higher into fifth density, people are going to be passing away like crazy. The people who can't physically handle it, because they keep going to fear, and they're not doing enough to raise their vibration. It's so pertinent right now to raise your vibration, which is a whole section in my book. I talk about how to raise your vibration, how to protect your energy from getting lowered, how to protect yourself from getting lowered. Right now, that is the #1 message to everybody, is raise your vibration and do not allow yourself to get lowered. Because the more and more lower you go, then as the planet's shifting higher and higher and the collective is shifting, the people who aren't able to keep up are going to pass away. They're going to leave.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest things that I'm trying to work with my clients on right now, is because they're always saying, I'm just one person. How can I really make a difference? And I try to explain to them that they actually have a huge impact, because as their vibration rises, or their frequency, and they focus on a positive outcome, then they are contributing to that timeline, that positive timeline. And like you said, we'll get there much more quickly. But when you are perpetuating the fear and watching the news and focusing your attention on the bad things that are coming, and the list that we could go on for hours of bad things that they're saying are coming or are happening right now, all you're doing is contributing to that timeline of negativity, and it's only going to hold us up. So everybody individually has power, because then collectively that energy shifts us in a higher frequency, right? Is that what you're saying? For those of you, I just want to say a quick hi to everybody that's in the chat and watching us right now. For those of you that just kind of tuned in, Kimberly Palm is with us, and her book is Ascension 101. I've read it. It's absolutely wonderful. It's very easy to read. It's very it's outlined very nicely, so people can go to certain sections and review, go back to things that they're interested in, and it's really, really good. I highly recommend that you guys purchase her book. It's on Amazon. That's the only place, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Amazon, but it's worldwide. So people in Japan are buying it. People in Italy are buying it. Denmark. I have clients all over the world too. I have clients in Australia. I have clients in South Africa. I have clients in Ireland. A lot of clients in the UK and Ireland. A lot of clients. I even have some in Scotland. I've got clients in Canada. Everywhere. They're all over the world. Australia. And the book is available pretty much everywhere on Amazon.
Yeah,
so
it's really, and it's a very reasonably priced. I highly recommend it. I read it this week and I really liked it. Red Pill. Hi, Red Pill. He's asking if you have any tips on guarding your energy.
Yes. So if he wants to contact me through my website, which is SpiritualGrowthJourneys.com, I actually have a 3-step protection that you can do every morning when you wake up. But I will kind of tell you right now what you want to be doing. There's many different ways you can guard your energy. And I actually cover hundreds of them in my book. But one of the best things you can do is just every morning asking God and Archangel Michael to place like a armor of protection around you. I call it the armor of God. I like to be placed into the full armor of God. And then I ask for a violet flame bubble to be placed around that, because the color violet or purple actually transmutes and destroys negative energy. So if somebody's around you who's a negative energy vampire, or somebody's trying to psychic attack you, that energy will not penetrate into you. It will be, basically alchemized and destroyed before it can get to your actual, body, your mind, your spirit. So really asking God every morning for a bubble of protection. And when you go into public, when you're going to be around a lot of people because they have negative energy that may affect you if you're empathic, you need to re-ask again to have that powered up, like a force field powered up. And in your mind, you can even visualize like layers of light around you, which is a really good way, because you have to understand that we are manifesting not only with our emotions and our thoughts, but our intentions and our visualization and what we say out of our mouth. So you speak it, you think it, you focus on it, and you visualize it. And you are a powerful being. One of the things that the reptilians took away from us is our knowledge that we are powerful. We are very, very powerful. We have the ability to create just about anything. And if you realize that you're really, really a powerful creator, you can create a force field around you with your mind. It is really, really, really powerful. The other thing you can do is carry around in your pocket a black tourmaline crystal, because black tourmaline protects you from negative energy, demonic energy, psychic attack, all of that type of stuff, and selenite crystal as well. And if you do that, you may not want to just keep it in your pocket. You may want to put it in like a little fabric bag and then put it in your pocket, because those are crystals that have the tendency to crumble really easily, and you don't want a pocket full of crumbled crystal. So the best thing is to put it in like a little bag, like a little felt bag or a little like satin bag, and then keep it in your pocket when you leave the house and you go places. I really, really recommend that.
Yeah, I mean, that's funny because like what you just said is to the T, literally word for word, exactly what I tell people. And I do that myself every single day. I ask for the violet flame. I ask for God's bubble of golden light around my body. I do it for myself and my children. So they're not going anywhere right now necessarily, but every morning before they go to school, I'd ask for the same thing. And then I'd also ask for Archangel Michael to follow them around everywhere they went as an extra protection. But yeah, that's exactly what I do. And I 100% agree. There was a question from David about, does age have anything to do with being able to sustain a high vibration? I have my thoughts, but I would love Kimberly to answer that question.
Yeah, so actually, your age won't prevent you from staying in a high vibration. Here's what's interesting, is these kids who have come in since 2012, they're already there. They're already fit density. They came in with the 12-strand DNA, because we're changing from, I forgot to mention this, is with the Ascension, we're changing from 2-strand DNA to 12-strand DNA. We're having our DNA upgraded. And these kids that have come in since 2012 came in with all their upgrades, and they're online, like they're already 5D. They don't have to do anything. The only thing they need to do is protect themselves. They need to protect themselves from getting lowered, but they're already as high vibe as you can get. They're all very high vibe. So in that case, age does have something to do with it, because the young people are already very high vibe. So you just need to protect them from getting lowered. Now with older people, it has nothing to do with age at all. It has to do with, are you awake? Are you working on yourself? Are you doing the inner work? Are you trying to raise your vibration? What are you doing? It has to do with you and the choice you're making. So you can be 95 and you can be totally awake and be choosing to raise your vibration. I have clients who are in their 80s, and they're working on raising their vibration. And then I have clients that are in their 20s that are working on raising their vibration. So, and then I have kids I'm even counseling with their parents. I'm doing entire families right now. Actually, I have literally married couples, entire families I'm working with. I am so grateful for all this cool stuff that I'm getting to do to serve people and to help people. So.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. I can't believe that we're all already up to the hour. So we have about 5 minutes. I wanted to, you had mentioned in your book, there's something about the 3 timelines. I just wanted to go over that, because is that what you mentioned, that there are 3 possible timelines right now? Is that what you were talking about earlier, or is this something different?
So there's in the book, those timelines had to do with kind of what was happening with, what happened on the 21st of December. That was more about that. Okay. But right now I'm seeing like the future as we're going along, because this process is a many-year process. And so now I'm seeing the fact that there's like different possibilities for how the the government stuff is going to shift. The one thing I will tell you right now is if you go online, you'll see that all of the world governments are currently collapsing. There's, I just got done posting it on my Facebook. If you look me up on Facebook, Kimberly Palm, you'll see my post, and I posted all these different countries where the governments are completely, everybody's resigning. Like all the leaders in these governments are resigning all of a sudden. And or they're being kicked out, they're being fired. Like in Russia, everybody except Putin quit. And in all these different countries, there's all of these people that are leaving their governments. And I was told months ago by Yeshua, he said to me, Kimberly, all of the world governments, this was back many months ago, he said all of the world governments will be collapsing, every one of them. And so the three different things I'm seeing are mainly about different ways this could possibly go, like how it could play out. But people, I don't have time to explain that because that would take a long time. What I will tell you is the outcome is always the same. The outcome, and seriously, listen to me, listen very carefully. The outcome is always the same. What does that mean? God wins. Christ wins. We win. The good people win. The dark people are leaving the planet. They are going. They're getting off our planet. We win. Just keep that in mind. No fear, no fear, no fear. Trust the plan.
I totally agree 100%. I can't always see the details, and sometimes they shift because there is free will. And so there's this constant change. But I 100% agree. Every time I look into the future, it's nothing but good. And I see so much peace on earth. I see the education system different, the medical system different. I mean, just a way of life is different. And so that's what I'm focusing on. And that's what I try to tell people. Just focus on what is the highest good of humanity. And that pretty much eliminates anything less than that. And so I want to thank you, Kimberly. And how can everybody, so in the description below is going to show all of your information. But just real quick, how can people get in contact with you, and what kind of sessions do you offer in case they're interested in working with you?
Sure. Thanks for asking. So I offer just 1 hour, guidance sessions. I also am offering 1 hour past life regression sessions as well. And I don't do hypnosis on people because I don't like it. For me, I don't like it. For other people, maybe, but it's just not something I like to do. But I use a shamanic journeying technique. It's sort of a Native American shamanic journeying technique to take people back to look at their, past lifetimes where they're 100% in control. I do that. The other thing I do is just spiritual guidance, your life, what's your purpose, who are you, all that kind of stuff. How do you meditate? How do you get rid of stress? How do you heal yourself? How do you self-heal your body? All that kind of stuff. And they can reach me through my website, which is SpiritualGrowthJourneys.com. And you can see my book up on there as well, but you can get that on Amazon. You can connect also through my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel, which is just Kimberly Palm on YouTube. And I have 30 videos at least on there that are all free. I do not monetize, by the way, because I do not want to stress people out with all the commercials. So I do not monetize. I have like a donation thing they can do if they want to, because I'm trying to make everything free. I want free spiritual advice to be given to people without feeling any obligations, no commercials. And then also I have a Spiritual Growth Journeys group on Facebook. And if you wish to join us on there, just send in a request, just hit the join button and I'll let you in.
Yeah, I just joined too. I just joined as well. Okay, well, thank you, Kimberly, so much. And please, guys, get her book. I read it. Like I said, it's really, really, there's a lot of information and it's such an easy read. It's not complicated. And I appreciate that. I try to write my books the same way, just like you're having a conversation with people instead of trying to make yourself sound so poetic. It's straight to the point, and that's how I like it too. So thank you again for joining us today. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, I put your website right there on the screen so they can email you and check you out as well. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sherri. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, I hope to have you back. I'll actually be on your channel Friday of this week, so we'll just bounce back and forth. It'll be fun.
Exactly. I love it. It's great.
Yeah. All right, Kimberly. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Let's see. Get out of here.